Hi, I'm Ross Kenneth wURKEN, personal finance editor at TheStreet.com. I am joined today by Nicole wURKEN, research director at Mad Money, who happens to be my sister, and we welcome you to What's wURKEN, where we profile exciting and young entrepreneurs and thinkers. We have with us Jason Franklin, the co-founder of Sportiqe, an exciting apparel brand that's actually launching a new collaboration with ESPN this week at Bloomingdale's. Welcome, Jason.
Thank you for having me.
So Jason, Ross and I were looking at your website before, and your Sportiqe is in particular a fashion brand for fans of all sorts. What does that mean, and how did you get inspired to start this kind of a business?
Well, I grew up as a sport nut, so anytime I can go to sporting events growing up, I always went. So baseball, basketball, hockey, football, I was always trying to go see sports. And if I wasn't at a game, I was watching it on TV, and if I wasn't playing sports, I was going to see concerts. So I was just always inspired by watching sports. And what I wanted to do was figure out, since I knew I wouldn't be good enough to play professional sports, is
modesty.
Exactly. Is just figure out a way to still stay in the industry. And my great grandmother was a clothing designer. My grandmother was a clothing designer, and realized that maybe my passion would be in the apparel industry. And why not figure out a way to make those two, apparel and sports, sort of collaborate, do a collaborative effort with both of them. So started designing apparel at a very young age.
You married your passion for sports with fashion. The genesis happened, I take it, from your days as a ball boy with the Chicago Bulls.
Yeah.
Let's talk about the three-peat days.
Well, yes, I was a ball boy for the Chicago Bulls for their second three-peat. So I was around Michael Jordan, Scottie Pippen, Dennis Rodman, and really the entire Chicago Bulls organization. And really, I think that's where my intense love for sports started at a very young age. So at the ages of 14, 15, 16, I was around the NBA and around basketball a lot. And I just wanted to figure out some way, again, to stay in the business. So I figured out that maybe designing apparel would be, for fans, would be the way for me to stay involved.
Now, I have some of your shirts here. We don't have a Bulls, but we have a Celtics.
Yes.
I went to college in Boston.
Taboo to have it
we have New York
during
Knicks.
the Knicks Bulls
but
playoffs, yes.
As I'm touching these, they're very comfortable. You were
Yes.
talking before about how people like wearing these around. It's more of a lifestyle. Maybe when you're in the grocery store, you're wearing a Knicks shirt and someone says, woo, I like them also.
Exactly.
Why is this of interest beyond just going to a game? Where would people be wearing these kinds of
Well,
items?
what we felt was a void in the marketplace was developing a fashion brand for the fan. And when we found that when fans were either going to sporting events or not even going to the events, but they just wanted to show that they were a fan of a team, a brand, or a band, that there weren't really any options of something cool and comfortable to wear to the event or just out with their friends. So that's where Sportiqe really jumped in and said that we would fill a niche in the industry for bringing fashion apparel to the fans.
Can you talk about the difficulty in copywriting some of these designs, or the loopholes that you have to jump through to bring these creative, fashionable ideas to fruition? Because a lot of these, the actual jerseys, let's say, in the NBA, as I understand it, that's controlled by Adidas.
Correct.
But you form a separate niche. Talk about that business.
Correct. The NBA brought us in to really fill the void of bringing a fashion look to the fans. And Adidas is obviously the primary licensee with jerseys and more of the on-court apparel. And where we've found our niche is on the fashion side. So it's really what Sportiqe does, is bridging the gap between what's happening in the fashion world and what's happening in the fan world, and sort of merging those two. And really what Sportiqe does a good job of is every season coming up with new, cool, fashionable product that's very trend right in the industry, and bringing that to the fans.
Now, when you talk about being a fan, obviously sports is a big focus, and that's a big portion of your company. But we've been, as I'm touching all of these shirts, we see you can be different fans of many different things. You can be a Playboy fan. There are many of those, I guess.
The Grateful Dead.
The Grateful Dead. You're a very big music enthusiast.
Yes.
I think you were saying before you'd been to 3 concerts in 1 week.
Yes.
Overload.
Yes.
Tequila Avion, which had quite an entourage appearance.
Yes.
I mean, we could just keep going through all of these cores.
Carnegie Deli.
Carnegie Deli. We love those in our family.
Yes.
We love that. And then even a food truck. You said you could really be a fan of. No one is not a fan of nothing.
Yeah, exactly.
So how do you expand beyond, and how do you ensure that you're not diluting with too many types of fan brands? What is your overall strategy in this camp?
Well, we're all fans of something, and I just wanted to sort of celebrate people being fans, whether we're a fan of food, whether we're a fan of sports, whether we're a fan of music, whether we're a fan of video games, whether we're a fan of a magazine. We're all fans of something, and what we really started targeting was some of those iconic brands, and really we've been getting phone calls now from everyone, from corporations across America, because we've done a phenomenal job at being an extension of marketing their brands. So we work with accounts and clients such as McDonald's, EA Sports, ESPN, Playboy, all really bringing a fashion side of their business and being an extension of their brand and bringing that to retailers such as Bloomingdale's, Urban Outfitters, and boutiques across the country.
What's the future of Sportiqe in terms of major sporting events and league apparel? Could we see a Sportiqe NFL edition or a Sportiqe MLB edition?
Well, we sure hope so. I mean, those are obviously 2 major brands that we would love to be affiliated with, and hopefully as they see us, Sportiqe continuously growing in the industry, both at the arena level and also at the boutique and department store level, that they will realize that Sportiqe can fill a niche that is different than some of the other avenues that they already have filled. So yes, hopefully someday we can sit and talk about some of the other brands that we're bringing on. But right now is a huge opportunity for growth at retail. So as I said before, we have an event tomorrow at Bloomingdale's with our ESPN launch, and also really growing our own brand. As the Sportiqe brand we've done a nice job building a lifestyle brand where people are now recognizing Sportiqe as something to wear that's very comfortable and very fashion right and trend right, and our garments are so comfortable and so soft, so they want to just wear Sportiqe now. So that's been a big avenue of growth for us.
Jason Franklin with Sportiqe, Nicole WURKEN, Research Director for Mad Money. I'm Ross Kenneth WURKEN. That's what's working.